All right, good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming to our Zoom this morning. Today we have John Camp, General Manager and Head Coach of the University of Georgia Ice Hockey Program. John's a native of Ashton, PA. Joined the Ice Dogs coaching staff in 2017. Over the past 30 plus years, John has been associated with multiple organizations at the high school, middle school, Tier 3 junior, junior B, university club levels in Pennsylvania, New York, Illinois, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. John's a certified USA Hockey Level 4 coach, and he was recognized by his peers as the 2022 College Hockey South Coach of the Year award winner. John, take it away.
Yeah. Well, thank you, everybody, for inviting myself. And we also have our team captain, Robbie Whitwer, online with us. And it is our hope that we're going to share a little bit, obviously, about the University of Georgia and our program. But, I've been in your shoes with my son, and it could be a little bit overwhelming, not with just picking a college, but then where does hockey fit in if that's an option? So I'm going to try to give you a broad overview from the non-varsity standpoint of college hockey. And then really you can take away from what we offer at the University of Georgia and kind of replicate that at most of the Division I. We're D1 in College Hockey South and D1 through AAU collegiate hockey. I've got a PowerPoint I'm going to show. I actually have two presentations here. So we have what we call fast facts that we supply to families and potential players who have an interest in attending University of Georgia. So I think I'll share that first. And let me see if I can figure out how to get back in here again. Is that showing up yet? Share screen. There we go.
Yeah, not yet.
How about now?
Yep. It's
There we go.
You started. Yep.
Okay. Well, good deal. Like I said, this is a basic overview. My intent is not to bore everybody by going line through line here, but just to give you an idea on the University of Georgia and the hockey program. I'll be honest with you. I was coaching high school at the Class A level in Minnesota, and I was helping out with the NA3 team over in Coley. And my job that pays the bills, company was acquired, and I ended up having to move to Georgia, which I thought was the end of my hockey. And lo and behold, I found out University of Georgia had a hockey team. They were looking to expand. And through the last 7 seasons, we've moved from D3 to D2. Now this year we're entering D1. So it's been a nice rapid growth. Just to give you an idea on the popularity of the team on campus, we typically sell out. We're in transition. We're moving from our old barn, which was the basic civic center, if you would call it that, in Athens here. They have a new arena being built for us that's under construction with anticipated opening in March of 24. But we started out like any other team at a local rink. When I say local down here, local is about 40 miles, drawing maybe 20 to 30 students. We moved into the Civic Center, acquired a portable rink from the same company that supplies the Outdoor Classic, and immediately we started getting 1,000 plus. And with the popularity of the team and the championships and the success of the team, we ended up selling out at 2,500 per game, with the exception of fall Sunday games where we were competing against the NHL. And at those games, we would average anywhere between 800 to 1,000 folks. We typically average between 400 and 500 season ticket holders, to give you an idea on that. And I'll be honest, that's kind of the exceptions to the rule. There are other programs around the United States that are having similar success. I would say we are probably, at least in the Southeast, drawing the largest crowds. give you some inside information on kind of the student aspect of it. We have one whole section for the student body, and our players love playing in front of their classmates, but they also love playing in front of the community. We have a lot of snowbirds, similar to myself, that have relocated to the area. When we look up in the stands, I see the Hawks, I see Red Wings. Try not to ignore them too much. I see Boston, Philly, Buffalo. So we've got people with hockey knowledge moving into the area, and we're seeing that as a big part of the continued success with that knowledge base. So when students come down and they look at the University of Georgia, just to give you an idea here off of this sheet, the majors here are very well known. I mean, I honestly didn't understand how highly ranked the University of Georgia was until I moved down here and accepted the job. The business is probably, I'd say, from a team standpoint, my little mouse isn't working here. But I have at the top here. So finance, engineering, journalism, arts and science, sports and management. They're example of the majors that are with our current roster. I would say probably finance and accounting are probably the two big ones. I don't have on here real estate. And when it says real estate, I really didn't know what that major entailed, but that's working for the big firms up in like New York City, Atlanta, Chicago, when it gets into the commercial real estate, things like that. Robbie, do you have anything to add on any of the majors and how it associates with the team?
No, I mean, like you said, it's pretty business central for the most part with a lot of guys, which is, it's a good opportunity to be able to study together and whatnot, prepare for classes. I'm personally a political science major, so I'm in the public affairs school. So like Campy said, we got a wide range. Terry is the business school that you might hear be brought up when guys talk about it. But like Campy said, it's kind of all over the place, which is cool to get to, study with different guys on the team. But yeah, that's all I'd add there, Campy. Just the Terry.
Yeah. So yeah. Current enrollment, we're over 30,000 undergraduate students. I think there's another 6,000 graduate students on campus. The thing I like about this particular campus compared to some other schools that I've coached at, it doesn't feel like an overwhelming major campus. If you've never been to Athens, particularly the campus, it's broken out into, it feels like a neighborhood feel. So it's not very overwhelming. It's your classical Southern university in the sense of architecture. So it's a really neat campus the way it's laid out. I think it's one of those things that's also very attractive to students when they come in here from all over the world, quite honestly, as to the layout of the university. That's my dog that's having a bad dream here. So the next line's probably got everybody going, what the heck? Middle GPA 4.0, SAT middle 1350. I recall from when my son went to Naperville North, I think it was mainly SAT. I don't think he took an ACT. But that is one of the challenges I have when we recruit. Quite honestly, some of the other schools down here in the Southeast Conference are getting into that same realm. It's getting tougher and tougher. So as we get into this conversation, to give you an idea of some things that we've enacted as a team to give players an opportunity who, quite honestly, may not have that GPA, may not have that SAT score. I know as sure as heck I didn't have that, and I had no chance if it was back in the day. So we do have programs in play here that have been very successful, where we work with student athletes, and that's a key word you're going to hear a lot from these student athletes. Main focus here is that degree. I tell players all the time when they come in here, they see the success of our team, they see the banners up on the ceiling, and they want to play UGA hockey. And if I don't hear any discussion about the academic side of things, I get concerned. if I have someone that really just wants to come here to play hockey, I'm going to shy them away from being on the team or being at the University of Georgia. We want players that come in here who are going to have a full focus, and our ability to give them a platform with access up and beyond what maybe the typical student may have to resources. We do a lot of things non-hockey related to enhance the student life. We do things to enhance the student's ability to excel, from things as basic as top-notch tutoring to giving them exposure to things such as the Innovation Hub and giving them exposure to internships and study abroad. We do a lot of things, again, up and beyond. I try to incorporate a lot from my corporate career before I retired, of seeing, how new hires would come in and maybe the things that they were lacking and things that could maybe help them succeed. And most of the success I had with the corporations I was associated with was with student athletes who had developed things along lines of discipline and hard work and understanding that nothing's going to be given to them for free, and having that extra oomph, I call it, to really have that willpower to succeed. So when it goes away from the hockey and it goes to the books and it goes to study time and that discipline, I think what you can see on our team is that I'm really impressed with, and I'm really proud of our guys, is they support each other. And when we're on the road, our equipment manager and myself, we used to be the first ones down to being the coffee addicts that we are at the hotel lobby. And I'll go down there now at 6 o'clock in the morning, and we'll have 5 guys with their laptops open. And what that breeds is really for everybody else on the team that kind of got that kind of subtle competitiveness, like, hey, they've got a discipline to get up at 6 in the morning. They didn't stay up late last night. They're studying, they're excelling in class, and it rubs off. Robbie, why don't you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think in general, I think we pride ourselves on the, creating well-rounded people, and, that's the football is part of that, and everything else, where we have guys that, yes, we're getting the opportunity to play hockey, but it's also not taking anything away from your, traditional Georgia experience. And, Campy can speak to this too, but, we make sure that Saturdays are off for players for home football games. This upcoming season, we're getting the chance to follow the football team 3 different weekends and play Friday, Sunday, and go to the game Saturday. And then obviously, like Campy said, the degree is a big part of it. And, it's tough. The guys that have, gotten into Georgia, they've, worked hard to get there. So like Campy said, it's all about creating what I guess we think of as well-rounded young men. And, that obviously playing club hockey is a big part of that, but also getting to give kids the broader experience and make sure that they're professionally and, personally broadening their horizons. So, yeah, I mean, like Campy said, I mean, a lot of it is, we have a really good group of guys, but yeah, that, take school seriously for sure. And, you see that trickling onto the ice too. And I think just, even beyond our program personally, I think, playing a sport makes you a better student with time management, all of that stuff. College is, it's the first time a lot of these guys are, getting a chance to be on their own. So that type of structure that the team provides, we're traveling all the time together. We're practicing, we're seeing each other at the rink. It's that type of structure for an 18, 19, 20, however old is important. And, I see that, guys that might not necessarily, have it all figured out, but, being around the team, both, like I said, academically and personally, gives them a chance to have people that they can talk to, have people that they can ask questions about with, what classes to take. You can take classes together. So, yeah, I guess I just, speak to that that team aspect of it, where we're able to go through the whole college experience together, which is pretty invaluable with a lot of this stuff.
Thanks, Robbie. Yeah,
Yep.
and to add on to that, culture is very big for me personally. We want to make sure that we're giving everybody the opportunity to, number one, have the access to succeeding academically, number one. Number two, having the student life. That's important. So like Robbie said, we don't schedule games when it's a football game day. If you haven't been to an SEC tailgate game day, I was a Big Ten kid. Nothing against the Big Ten. It's very good. Had good times, but the SEC, it's a fun weekend. And we don't want to take that away. And the team, for the most part, just about every player, Robbie, right? They kind of go to the game together and post game, and everybody stays in line. I've never had to bail anybody out. They know my rules. That'd probably be one of the last things they'd want to do. So we really focus a lot on culture. We've done Navy SEAL team building. We've done Army Ranger team building. We've rotated kind of year to year on that. We bring in mindset training in the middle of the season. We have the former Hawks coach, Vinny Maltz. He comes in and meets with the team. So again, we try to do those things that are up and beyond, and try to make the amenities of an on-site locker room, walking distance from campus, as close as it can be to what, if you want to call it, an NCAA structure. The only difference is we're not practicing twice a day. We're not practicing and forcing guys to be lifting weights at 5:30 in the morning. The realization is we're going to be on the ice twice a week. The realization is there's going to be a captain's off ice practice, plyometrics running, that type of thing. Reason for that is, quite honestly, it's the student first. I'll be honest, we have players here that have transferred in from other institutions. We have players that have come here from super high level juniors. And the reality is some players just aren't made for that. They're not made for the point where that extra level of work becomes, in their mind, a job, and the passion dissipates. And when that happens, they're kind of at a crossroads, and we end up, a lot of coaches call me up and say, "Hey, Campy, can you help me out? This young man, the reality is he's not going to advance. He's going to age out. Or I got another young man here who's just not into the twice a days. He needs help. He wants to be able to do the academics." Or I get it where, quite frankly, I've helped players who have no interest at all in going to college, but they want to continue in juniors. I've helped players, and I still do, with the trades. I can't tell you how many players when I was in Minnesota that I sent to the Upper Mississippi Valley welding school and HVAC schools. So that's that extra full 360 vision that we have in running our program. And I can tell you a lot of the other programs that, coaches I know try to do very similar. And so I'm not going to get past a lot of blah, blah here. But, one of the things we're proud of, obviously, aside from our championships, is I put it on anything that I can. We had 19 academic All-Americans last season. And again, a lot of that happens. I can probably tell you there's probably 5 players on there that got caught up in the draft of the players that were getting up early in the morning and were able to up their skill set for studying and test taking. That was one of the nice things. So when you think of a roster, last season we had a roster of 30 and we had a couple of guys on the practice squad. So to have 19, almost 2/3 of your team be an academic All-American, it goes well. The background of our players, at one time when we were Division III, we were pretty much straight 18 UAA. We still have players that are 18 UAA. Quite a few of them have the ability to play AAA, but they either financial reasons, time commitment compared to academics. There's a lot of reasons why, but we don't shy away from a player today if he's playing AA by any means. It's the skill set that matters. I'd rather have our starting goalie could have played super high level, was being recruited high level juniors. he wanted to continue playing with his friends and excelling with the Bucks. He stayed at Double-A, but he's our starting goalie today. We have more and more this year's class coming in. Our top 6 recruits probably are all AAA. I'm sorry, USHL Premier. We're heavy with, and NCDC we're heavy with. We've had players from the NAL also come through our program. We've had NA3 through our program. We don't look at anything any differently than any other team as to, hey, if you're a good hockey player and you've got a good head on your shoulders and you've got to have aspirations to succeed in life, we'd be interested in talking to you. Our practice, as I mentioned, twice a week. We do 1.5 hour sessions. We do off-ice captains drills, which are typically 45 minutes to an hour, Robbie, and then we work on video. We do coaches do most of the video pre-work with the pre-scouting. We work on systems. I'm very big on being able to adapt and force the other team. You know, it's always I like a good chess match with a competing coach. So we try to be ready that we can throw another team off by changing up our forecheck or our neutral zone play. But you know, we try to keep it simple: hard forecheck, hard back check, and get that puck back in the neutral zone and transition right back in. That's our game. That's where we've been successful. Travel by coach bus. We don't do the Motel 6 or the Red Roofs or any of that. Nothing against those enterprises. Safety is probably paramount. Any coach is going to tell you that number one beyond anything else is safety. So that's why I don't want the players. When I first got here, they were driving in their personal cars. You know, if you got a game at 9 o'clock at night, you know, 100 miles away, the last thing I wanted was players driving in a car back. I mean, I'm meeting with the families pretty much a year in advance with the players. I get to know the families. Again, I've been in the parents' shoes. I want to be able to look a coach in the eye and know my son is going to be safe. Number one, going to be in a good environment. Number two, he's going to be there if that coach is going to be there. If I'm a 2-hour flight away or a 3-hour flight away, that coach is going to be there and do everything in his power to make sure he's okay. And that's, again, over the 30 plus years I've been doing this, I take a lot of pride in that. I wouldn't want anything any different than it was my own child, is my view. We do charge dues. Just about every team that I'm aware of in our neck of the woods, the non-varsity, we're on the lower end of the spectrum at $2,500 per season. So I know some of the parents, if you've been doing travel, that's something you're used to. We've got a full-time equipment manager. We've got a great, phenomenal medical and training staff that's supplied by Piedmont Sports. They also supply the same for the football team. So we're getting the same care, same treatment. Robbie can speak to that. Unfortunately, Robbie had some bad luck last year, but Piedmont had him in first thing in the morning, the next morning to get him fixed up and taken care of.
Yeah, and you know, like you said, I can kind of speak to that from firsthand experience this past year. But you know, obviously being on your own at school and not having necessarily the access to that type of stuff. I mean, to be able to get in Monday morning at 8 a.m. was super important, just so I could, you know, get back on track with like Campy said, with school and stuff, because you know, you got to get on with your life. So that type of and like Camp said, with the equipment manager to the medical staff, it takes that type of stress off your, you know, your players, so they can, you know, worry about being the best student athlete they can be versus driving their personal vehicle at, you know, 1 o'clock, you know, back from Atlanta. I mean, that's not where you want to be. So having that type of infrastructure in place is really important for players 19, you know, 20, like I said, you know, young kids. So yeah, it's all of that stuff that, you know, Campy has worked over, you know, to put in place really helps the players. So but yeah, I'll pass it back over to you.
Yeah, so one of the things that we also brought on board since I've been here was we applied for experiential learning credit to be a provider. It threw everybody off, being not just an athletic team, but a non-varsity athletic team. We fall under competitive sports at the university, which we report through rec sports. But competitive sports is the highest, level. It's kind of that, I call it the no man's land between, what you consider pure club and varsity. But with that, we do have access now with experiential learning credits that we can give them out, and we were able to get the best of the best students who are interested in being an intern for the team. Our player board, every non-varsity club team, whatever you want to call it, anywhere has to have a player board. That's part of the university requirement. We decided to flip that into a learning experience of basically running a micro business. Yes, I'm there kind of overseeing everything, but when it comes to putting a budget together, how are we going to generate revenue? What are we going to be being able to do travel wise? All those things come into putting the decisions on the player board. I'll make my comments, I'll make my suggestions, but at the end of the day, I give them free rein because it's a learning experience. And I've had players that have graduated through not just this program, but other programs I've been at that tell me how invaluable that was, not just when they graduated, but when they were in the interview process. So something like that, it is work. It is a time commitment on top of everything else. But that has been something we found very valuable. Academic assistance, I have access, again, through my role at the university and through my contacts, we have kind of been able to help any student athlete out who's had any type of concern or issues on their grades. I'll be honest with you, when I have students that excel and they're used to getting A's and B's or straight A's and they get that first C, they kind of go into panic mode. We're keeping an eye on that, and we make sure that we're able to kind of reel that in and getting that taken care of. And so far, knock on wood, we've never had any player have to drop out of the university for academic reasons or be suspended from the team for academic reasons. So that's a very, I have it down there last on miscellaneous, probably should be at the top. The other thing we take pride in, and I'll be quick here, is community service. We've gotten the National Community Service Award twice. Again, some of the off ice is very important to me in building this individual. So when they go into the real world, we're giving them skill sets and a mentality up and beyond. Pink in the rink is big for us. We raise $10,000 typically every year for women who cannot afford a mammogram. So when the players actually hear from the Bulldogs Battling Breast Cancer, who's the entity that we forward the money to, which goes to St. Mary's Hospital, they find out that they literally have saved a woman's life who didn't have insurance and had a choice of putting food on the table or getting the mammogram. So that's important for all of us, not just the players. It's the coaches, everybody associated with this program takes a lot of pride in that. Savannah Children's Hospital, we play a big tournament in Savannah. It's our version of the Beanpot for the South. Very competitive, very well attended. In the old Civic Center in Savannah, we sold out at 6,000 seats per game. Last year, we moved into the East Coast Savannah Ghost Pirates new arena, and I think we had 8,000 in for the championship game. So we go down a day early, and we actually go to the Children's Hospital, who has a lot of juvenile cancer patients, and we give out the toques, the beanies, little mini hockey sticks, and I tell you, as much as the players get out of it, I can tell you, I tell the players every year, you're going to see tears in my eyes twice. I'm considered a bit of a hard ass, and I know that, but I'm also human. And when they graduate, I'm a baby. I'm an absolute baby in the locker room on that last game. And the other time is when I walk out of that hospital, because I see, being a parent, I see the impact my players are having on their child, and then seeing the impact it's having on the parents who someone's making their child's day. So that's a really cool thing. that I really appreciate that we have the ability to do. Because it means just as much to us. And then Nucci Space is somebody who we partnered up with right here in town. My concern was during the COVID year, we had to move all of our games down to Macon. That's the only place we were allowed to play. I was concerned about my players with the online classes. I was concerned about, again, I get to know them. Do I get to know them as well as my own child? I'm not going to go that far, but I get to know them really well, and I can tell when things are off. So we've partnered with them because I just want to make sure that my players, everything else that's out there, I want their headspace to be in a good place. And if something's off, we have access on that side as well. And I'm going to jump over to the PowerPoint. Let's see if I can figure this out again. Bear with me.
Hey, John, while you're switching over, a question popped up. That 2,500, the way it was worded, did the gloves and bag and pants and all that, was that included in that, or is that in addition to the 2,500?
No, the player kit's involved, which is the workout shorts, the hoodie. What am I forgetting, Robbie?
Yeah, so basically that 2,500 does cost the basics in terms of like, jerseys, all that stuff. There are additional items that we allow players to purchase in terms of helmets and gloves are the two things that we do a team order on, and players have the opportunity to buy on their own. But yeah, that 2,500 does go towards basic equipment. Obviously, I think Campy mentioned we have a locker room that we rent from the Classic Center every year. But yeah, there are additional. I think gloves and helmets are the two big ones that are additional costs to players.
Yeah, the shell, the gloves, the bucket. We get special pricing for the twigs. So if they want to get sticks, like you can get the 200 and what's it, Robbie, like a $230 whole retail for the Warrior sticks, and we get them for what, $89. We've got that ability. We've got relationships. If any of you are familiar with BNR Sports, mainly out of Michigan, I know that they're also at the in Aurora at All Seasons rink. We've got a special relationship with them where we get a lot of things very much discounted from skates, etc. So we have a lot of different options there. Okay, can everybody see the logo, the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay. So University of Georgia, we talked a little bit about that. Beautiful campus. On the left there, you see the arch. That's kind of the trademark, as you see up there under with the 1785 setup on there. So that's unique. The superstition is you can't walk underneath the arch until you graduate. So it's always interesting to see mobs of people walking around the corners there. So here's what I was just applied with by the admissions group here, class of 2027. So the first year applicant breakdown. So winning national championships really juices up the amount of applicants, which for us is not always the best thing, but it's good for the university. You can see 15,000 plus were admitted. Multiple states, countries. Again, it's not gonna kid you. It's a challenge to get in here, but because of the popularity of the university and the popularity of the hockey program, a lot of our guys we've been able to kind of have, and I'm going to recommend this to you for any university. Write this down if you got a pen and paper. I find this to be the most beneficial advice I can give you as a parent to pass on to your son. Have them call the admissions departments of the universities that they have an interest in applying to. Ask to speak to a counselor. basically express an interest in attending and applying to the university to kick off the discussion, and just say, hey, is there someone I can speak to that I can run my current transcript by and review to see if it's on par with what you as the university would expect? And if not, is there any recommendations you can make for classes that I have planned taking coming up my senior year? Now, it may be a little late in the game for that, for changing up classes, but the best thing that happens with this is you're getting the advice, you're going to get the feedback, but they're going to write your name down. And I found out through the grapevine, I mean, it's what, if you've got 100 students that have applied that are all equal across the board, all have phenomenal essays, sometimes the difference is the ones that have actually taken the preemptive action to reach out to them, because they've got to record all this. Okay, so that for any school that you're going to apply to, please take that advice. And the earlier you can do it, the better. Okay. You can go to the University of Georgia website, and I would check out any of the schools that you're going to be applying to their admissions website. There's always some hidden information you wouldn't expect. Here's one that I pull up and I recommend players that have reached out to me. Admissions tips, hints, and myths. There's all kinds of myths and urban legends out there. Every school has them. Pull that up. Check and ask if there's any blogs that you can register to. If they're on Twitter, I know UGA has I think it's the #2 person in charge of admissions. He's got a Twitter account that he's always putting good, helpful hints and suggestions up there. Reach out to those type of entities for any of the schools that your son's interested in applying to. Okay, switching back to hockey, we touched on this. We're men's hockey D1 in both. College Hockey South is the regional conference we belong to, and then at the national level, it's the AAU hockey. We had been with ACHA, which is the other major governing party. Main reason we changed over to AAU decided to get involved back with hockey. I wasn't really aware of it, but I guess they were the national governing body, not USA Hockey, up and through the late 60s. They want to get back into it in a big way. Their goal was to make it much more financially feasible for players to play the game at this level, which would be, the ultimate goal that they tell us is to take those dues and hopefully get them wiped out. And then putting other entities out there, such as scholarships. It really became a scheduling issue for us, and one of the reasons we'll change. I have nothing bad to say about ACHA at all. They've got a lot of good teams that are on that side as well. We play ACHA teams. We're going to play Oklahoma State this year. Biggest difference was, our academic standards are such that you're not going to find many professors here that are going to be willing to give a student a full week excused absence. ACHA runs their playoffs middle of the week. AAU runs theirs over a long weekend. One of the most important reasons, I'll be honest with you, that we changed. And again, without going into every conference that's out there, I've just kind of focused on College Hockey South. Hockey in the South is growing. Just since I've been down here, it's amazing the amount of players that are looking at the South as an option to continue their education and their hockey career. You can see the D1 being somewhat new. We've got 5 teams from our conference that are going to be D1. We'll be playing other teams on our schedule that are part of D1. We'll be going up to Long Island and Connecticut and playing some teams up there. But then we have, D2, multiple D2 teams, and then we have D3. So we actually have a second team we're starting this year, which is going to be in the D3 division as well, because it's a shame when we get players that go through the whole rigmarole, they get accepted into the university, and then, it comes down to cut down day, and you got to either put them on the practice squad or basically, tell them, you can practice with the team, but you're really not going to get on the ice for any games. Now with the D3, which we weren't that long ago. They have that opportunity to get the experience and continue to grow the game. We've got a great young coach we've brought in for the D3 team. Brought him in. He did work for the Vegas Golden Knights, and he played collegiately for U Sport up at the University of Guelph in Ontario. We're looking at that as an opportunity for players to continue playing, and injuries happen, and the ability to call players up to the D1 team. And we also just started a women's division as well. So the Hockey House, if you don't subscribe to them on podcasts, this is actually student player run. It's probably the most popular podcast out there among non-varsity college hockey. It covers both ACHA and AAU. I just put this up because this is something kind of funny they put up there for 4th of July with the 13 original colonies. And it just shows some of the teams on there, like you say, UMass and Pitt. They're ACHA. You've got Liberty's got teams on both sides. And just to give you an idea of some of the other teams out there, and that hockey podcast. Okay. This is it's a team photo, but to give you an idea of the rink that we did play in before we move into the new arena. Locker room. I wish it always looked that neat. But we have the ability where students don't have to keep their gear in the trunk of their car or stink up their dorm room or apartment. So that's may seem like a small benefit, but for the hockey moms out there and know what that hockey stink, not every roommate's going to be appreciative of that. So we have everything right here. It's walking distance from campus. It's literally a 5-minute walk from campus. Again, here's another little view of our arena. Those red seats down on the end are the student section. We also play outdoor hockey here. This year, since there was a little bit of a delay on the new arena, most of our games are going to be our home games. We're going to have a couple off-site at Gas South and one of the local rinks, just a few, but most of our games are going to be outdoor. And I didn't realize it until I moved down here, but the temperatures in the evening in January and February can get down into below freezing. Since our rink's portable, we set it up in on a covered parking deck that actually the rink fits inside that, and it's become probably the most popular venue. Every time it's time to open up our schedule, all the teams line up and they try to hold us hostage to play us outdoors. They love the outdoor environment. It seems a lot bigger crowd than it actually is. I think we max out at about 800 fans outdoors, but we make it a winter classic. Food trucks. It's going to be even bigger this year. They're going to really try to make it a mini, what you see of the NHL fan experience type event. This is the outdoor rink. Yep.
Really quick, I'm going to jump in before I got my flight's taken off here. So
Okay.
I just, first of all, thank you for having me. I just, for me personally, the club hockey route has, and the University of Georgia in particular has been a really blessing in my life. And, I'd highly encourage your players to explore it. And Coach Camp's a great representative of our program, and he's responsible for a lot of the success. So, obviously I'm happy that we have him on here. Sorry, I have to hop off, but like I said, I highly encourage everybody to explore Georgia. It's, I see it's played a big role in, all the players on the team's lives. So thanks for having me, Kent. Sorry, I have to jump off here.
No problem. Safe travels.
All right.
And if anybody has any questions for either one of us, I'll our email will be made available to reach out to us. I strongly recommend that player to player is always a great thing. So, I don't take it personal, but sometimes it's easier for a player that's interested in Georgia to speak to another player, even the parents. So I have no issue with that at all. So we'll make ourselves available if anybody has an interest in speaking to us. The new arena, just to kind of give through here, we got like 15 minutes here. I want to make sure I'm open for questions, but here's the new arena. As you can see, it's quite impressive from the outside. Inside, this is the artist rendition of what we're going to have. So we're really excited about this. I mean, hockey in the South is real. the growth of hockey at the University of Georgia, Israel. The support we're receiving from the university is phenomenal. So we're really excited about this. Even the state takes us serious here a little bit. So Brian Kemp, who's our governor, he hosted us. He typically hosts us for a breakfast for the championships we've won. This is just a little bit of a picture of him holding this was back when we were the SEC conference holding the trophy. But Governor Kemp's a big fan. He'll do puck drops for us as well. He's a UJ graduate. So I kind of sped up there at the end. I'm proud of our program. I'm proud of what other teams are doing out there. I think on a national basis, there's opportunities for everybody. It really comes down to what type of major you're interested in, what type of student life you're interested in, how it is from, quite honestly, with your family situation. Not everybody is going to be in a situation to be away from home the distance we are from Chicagoland. And we understand that. But one of the things that's really great is us as coaches, we work with each other. As much as I'd love a great hockey player to come here, it's not always realistic. We've got the grade situation. We've got maybe not the major. Maybe it's the distance. But, I know coaches up in your area. You have teams from Aurora to Northwestern, and in between, you've got Marquette to the north. You've got good club teams up in the local region. Getting a little bit further outside that next ring there, Indiana has good schools. Indiana State. You get into Ohio with Denison and University. Ohio University is one of the top D1 programs in the U.S. from the ACHA standpoint. Iowa State, a couple more. So the option we have there, we're getting more and more players that used to look at, hey, I want to play NCAA hockey. They end up looking at a D3 school. And the reality is that change is happening now where it's like the ego, and we all have it. There's good ego and there's bad ego. If you just want the NCAA and that's what you're set on, that's fine. But if you want to be able to have the student life, not have it become a job, still play in front of a great crowd, there's this other option for you. And there's multiple schools out there. And again, if there's schools you're interested in, if I know the coach, I'd be more than happy to make a call. If I don't know the coach, I'd be more than happy to get information for you. This isn't just about the University of Georgia. I'm speaking to you in the sense of please understand I'm available to you because I've been in your shoes, and getting information sometimes can be confusing and difficult. You're not sure where to go. I want to try to ease that burden on you and hopefully give you direction and advice. If I don't know it, I'd be more than willing to do some research for you as well. One last thing. I mentioned earlier, we have players coming out of juniors that, quite frankly, they don't have the 4.0. If they did, they probably would come straight to school. And we've had those kids. They become doctors. I just had a kid graduate from Emory Law. Another one of my former players has graduated from Augusta University Dental. I had another one at University of Michigan Dental. I'm saying this, but I've had players. I had a player from Cape Cod. Barely was pulling through at a community college up there. Was playing D3 at a school I won't mention. We talked to him. We got him into State University system, has a school 2 miles from campus. We said, listen, you come down here, we can get you into the school. I work with these students every Monday to get their grades up, to work with them. If it's a subject I'm not good at, I get them help. We work with them to get them to transfer in at a 3.2. It's a 1 year of sacrifice. I've had students go to COD, College of DuPage, go there for a year, transfer down, still play hockey in Chicagoland, transfer in with a 3.2. Again, we're there to work with them academically. There are other options to get into the university, which may not be the traditional route. So I want to put that out there. it'd be easier to go into more detail if people have an interest in that offline, but I'll leave it at that.
John, that's great information. I really appreciate all the time. A couple things that you touched on, I think it was very important for our families to hear. It's questions we get asked all the time, and some great advice in there. We're going to open it up to questions. One of the question here is, can you speak about the recruiting process as well as any opportunity for student athlete scholarships?
Sure. So if I've got a player who's interested in coming down here, I usually like to talk to their coach, get a good understanding of their skill set. Now we have the ability with 2 teams that pretty much anybody can fit in if they're at least playing AA. There are student athlete scholarships. They're scholarships, but I wouldn't quote them as student athlete. They're student scholarships. And there's a wide range of them. We communicate, again, that scandal they had out in Hollywood really messed a lot of things up for us, because I used to be able to go to admissions every week and name drop and put a player out there, and I never had a guarantee they were going to get financial aid or even accepted, but there are opportunities out there. I think the hockey team has hit such a level of prominence on campus that when they see it's a hockey player, I had a couple players that was really came down to the wire if they were going to attend here, because it came down to their parents being able to afford it. And we were able to give them the right direction, and we were able to have some of the people on campus make some phone calls, and they did end up obtaining financial assistance. So that's the one thing George is very good at, is providing that financial aid. It's either need-based or based upon academic propensity.
Great. So would you say that you don't, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, I just want to make sure I'm understanding it, that you're not actively recruiting. What you're doing is you're waiting to see who's actively interested in attending the university, and then you go from there.
No, sorry, no, I actively recruit. Like this year, I was in Chicago at the JOG ACHA showcase that Joe Caprio puts on. I go to that. I didn't go this year to the USA Hockey showcase in St. Louis. I had a scheduling conflict on that, but I've been to some of the NCDC tryouts. I've been to. I go up to. I moved down here from Minnesota, so I've got 5 boys on my team from Minnesota. So I go back up there to Blaine to a lot of the different showcases that they put on there. But if there's someone that's on the radar, the good thing is with Live Barn, I'm able to get on and evaluate and check a player out. A lot of times I'm getting feedback from the coaches, and at that point it comes down to is the University of Georgia the right fit? If you think it's really there, I ask you to come on down, make the trip down with your family, bring your gear with you. We'll get you out on the ice if we're in season. Let you come out for a practice, kind of see how I run the practice, because I'm part of the equation too. Seeing how the team interacts with each other. There's nothing worse. I think everybody's probably had the experience of being in a bad locker room. I would recommend this for any school that you're looking at, is to have that inside look by asking to see if you can skate with the team. Okay. I can't vouch for every team. I can't vouch for captains on every team. I don't let my players vote on the captain. I pick the captains. They have a large responsibility to make sure that the locker room is meeting our culture standards. Those are the type of things you want to be asking as you look at different schools, or have different schools come to you on the recruitment basis. But if someone's interested in looking at us, the recruitment's basically it's an interest base, and we start from there. Or I'm seeing somebody at a showcase, or as I travel during winter break and go to games, and basically ask to speak to the coach and see if there's some interest in that player going to university, and at that point, I really make sure I meet with the parents as well, because I want the parents included.
Thanks for clarifying that. Also, it sounds like you want the players or family to be actively involved in reaching out in not only with the university, but with yourself. You know, this is one of the things we tell players all the time. You know, obviously grades, you've touched on that, how important they are, but you've also touched on how important it is to reach out prior, just to make sure you're on the right track. And you know, we have a lot of players who actually, you know, the jog is right in our neighborhood there. So we have a lot of players who attend that. And it sounds like based on our previous conversation offline that you view those events as an opportunity to meet with players and see new players.
No, absolutely. I mean, we have a couple players that we've met at jog. They want to do another year of junior, which is fine. But it's giving them that kind of gap. I call it a gap year because they're going to stay in juniors. We have nothing against that. It's giving them the ability to kind of really start focusing on that Georgia of, yeah, I've got to, you know, let me take a couple online classes. Let me get my study habits back. Let me kind of focus on those things I need to do to succeed at Georgia. So, and we stay in contact. I work with the coaches. I try to the best I can visit them wherever they're located. You know, I pretty much anything from Minnesota east. I shouldn't say that. I got players coming from Colorado now that I've been pulling. Robbie's from Colorado. But I try to get out as much as I can during the summer and during our winter break.
Great. Kent, do you have any questions?
No, this has been fantastic. John, thanks for coming on. If there's any more questions, type them in the chat, or Kyle, do you have anything else?
I don't. I'm just gonna I'll send out a recap of this to all the families with that information that John went over at the start, just to kind of go refresh your memory as to what he was talking about, and also John's contact information. So if anybody has any questions they want to ask John directly, you know, they can reach out. But this was so important because so many of our families are, you know, they're players that want to play in college, and it's just, it's so difficult to navigate how to get there. And there's so many different paths and so many different ways to get to where you want to be. But I think you touched on it first is, you know, find out what school they want to go to, what interests them, and then work from there. Because you said something the other day, and and maybe I missed it today. You said, you ask a player, what if you weren't? Why don't you go ahead and say it so I don't?
Yeah, I forgot to mention that today. Yeah, after we do the tour down here, when players decide, okay, I'm going to come down with my family, I'm going to do the tour. I just ask them point blank, look them in the eye. It's like, listen, you've had the tour, you've been on campus, you've seen our facilities. If for whatever reason you couldn't play hockey again, would you be happy here? And that's point blank the bottom line. I mean, you need to be in an environment you're going to be happy with. If you're pushing something that you know in your gut's not comfortable, don't do it. And that's what I tell the players. So I've had some players, again, they say all the right things, but at the end of the day, they don't want to be, a lot of times they don't want to be that far away from home. The one that drives me nuts is, well, the girlfriend's going to go to the University of Colorado, or your girlfriend's going to go to Ole Miss or something. That's the one that makes me nuts. But in reality, at the end of the day, I'll go back to it, student athlete. You're coming here to get that degree. I want to make sure I take pride in the guys going through this program, the 19 academic All-Americans, those guys, and seeing them succeed. I think any coach will tell you, the coaches online here, we probably take more joy in seeing the success they have after they're out of the program, because I think we want to think we got it like that much, at least a little part of it. But that's what we do. It's you want to put them you want to put them in the position to succeed in life. And you know, some people, words are easy to say, but to back it up, you know, find the program that's going to back it up. Find the program, the university is going to put in position to not to succeed in business, but succeed in being the great dad, the great, you've all put your son in a great position to be where they're at, or you wouldn't be on this call. So don't forget to give yourself a pat on the back. You've had a lot to do with this. And I remind the players all the time, they better be thanking mom and dad and the siblings, because it takes literally a village to make this thing work. The coaches, everybody. So don't lose sight of that. Don't be intimidated by the process. That's why people like myself and your coaches are out there, that we can help you. And like I said, if it's not Georgia, that's fine. I've been in your shoes. There's nothing worse than seeing a parent or a family struggle with trying to navigate the system. And I truly mean that. So don't be shy. Don't hold back. This is an important decision. Get as much information from as many people as you can without overwhelming yourself.
That's great, John. Kent, anything?
No, that's it. What an awesome presentation. John, thanks again for coming on. Like Kyle said, we record this. There are a lot more people than were on the call today that will also see it. And we really appreciate you taking the time on a Sunday to do this for us.
Well, I'd love, yeah, hey, give me some excuses to come back up. I love it up there. I was just up in Naperville beginning of this week, actually pick up a new puppy, but give me some reasons to come back up, folks.
Awesome.
Sounds great. And I will say this, I want to compliment you. Robbie is a great young man. Yeah, I mean, he's you can just tell by the way he carries himself and answers the questions that you focus on the individuals, and they also happen to probably be pretty phenomenal hockey players as well. So kudos to you and your program. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much. Like I said, I'll have Robbie's information and my information. We'll make sure you have it with the Jets organization. I wish everybody the best of everything this upcoming season, and we'll make sure we're going to be following you.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, everybody. And let's go Jets.
There you go. Take care.